Explaining domain expansions. Today let's look at Ryumen Sukuna, the king of curses or the fraudulent one. Sukuna's domain is known as Malevolent Shrine, and while most domains have a barrier, Malevolent Shrine does not. Instead, it simply eviscerates anything in a 200-meter radius. It focuses on two sure hit abilities known as Cleave and Dismantle. Anything with cursed energy, like cursed spirits or sorcerers, will be hit with Cleave. Hacking/attacks that slice open enemies until there's nothing left. Anything that is inanimate, like buildings or cars, will be hit with Dismantle, which are just typical slashes. Final verdict, Gordon Ramsay's wet dream. Follow for more, because we'll be explaining domain expansions. Today, let's look at my glorious, majestic king, Gojo Satoru. Gojo's domain expansion is known as Infinite Void, which is used numerous times in the show and manga. Infinite Void traps Gojo's opponent in an endless stream of information, kinda like scrolling through TikTok and Instagram Reels for hours upon end. Anyone caught in this domain will suffer insane consequences, as a huge amount of information causes them to lose all human senses while simultaneously experiencing all of them. Basically, they die slowly, unable to move, speak, or comprehend anything that just happened. In order to use this against the cursed spirits in Shibuya without harming civilians, Gojo was able to utilize his domain for 0.2 seconds, creating the necessary time to stun his foes without critically damaging bystanders. Final verdict, literal brain rot. Follow for more, because we'll be explaining domain expansions. Today, let's look at Megumi Fushiguro, aka Potential Man. Seriously, he has so much potential, but proceeds to attempt suicide at every given chance. Anyways, Megumi's domain is called Chimera Shadow Garden. While it is an incomplete domain, it's actually very powerful. Chimera Shadow Garden is an extension of Megumi's 10 Shadow technique, powering it up to 120% of its full potential. It utilizes multiple Shadow Shikigami to dish out painful attack combos, and Megumi can even Shadow Clone Jutsu himself to make copies of his own body. He can even trap opponents into the shadows around him, which have no buoyancy, resistance, or oxygen, kinda like empty space. And while it doesn't have a sure hit effect, it's still plenty powerful, especially for a first-year sorcerer. Final verdict, what I can't you get yet? Follow for more, because we'll be explaining domain expansions. Today, let's look at Eador Yuji.
Wait, that's the wrong script. I mean Mahito.
Mahito's domain is known as Self-Embodiment of Perfection. Self-Embodiment of Perfection is basically just an extended, sure hit of Mahito's existing idol transfiguration, which allows him to manipulate the souls of anyone or anything he touches. It's a stacked ability, and Nanami even reflected that it's basically a guaranteed W. However, it can backfire, as everything inside Mahito's domain is touched regardless by idol transfiguration, which ends up almost killing Mahito as he attempts to idol transfigure Sukuna's soul that's inside of Eador Yuji. Like Gojo, he figured out how to use a 0.2 second domain expansion to critically injure Aoi Todo and avoid getting his ass handed to him by Sukuna. Final verdict,
it gave me a rock-hard cut.
Follow for more, because we'll be explaining domain expansions. Today, let's look at the restless gambler himself, Kji Hakari. His domain expansion is known as Idle Death Gamble, and it's actually pretty simple. Basically, his domain is modeled after a pachinko-styled game centered around a shoujo manga. There are 7 characters, and the goal is to get mono first. Did you get all that? Good, because I'm not repeating it again. Seriously though, Hakari is crazy strong. Final verdict, 99% of gamblers quit before they're about to win big. Follow for more, because we'll be explaining domain expansions. Today, let's look at the strongest curse of today, Jogo. Jogo's domain is called Coffin of the Iron Mountain. It's a super awesome domain that
soulless anyone who enters it, even Goku and Saitama, because it's just that cool and awesome and epic and amazing.
Okay, I lied. I have no idea what this domain does. We've never actually seen it in action. All we know is that this domain centers around Jogo's manipulation of fire and lava, including scalding heat that would cause any sorcerer to combust upon entering. If I were to guess, I would assume it would be based upon volcanoes, sending a stream of ash, rock, and molten lava at the enemy until they've been burnt to a crisp. Final verdict,
are you stand proud you're strong because you're not? I'd win, or are you not? I'd win because you're stand proud you're strong.
Follow for more, because we'll be